आज द विकी लालवानी शो पर फारा खान अली, संजय खान's daughter.
2012 is when I had the issues that had started with Aqeel. And I wanted to tell my parents then, but at 2012, Sussanne was having issues with Hrithik, okay? And she beat me to telling my parents. So I couldn't join the bandwagon and say, me too. There was never 400 crore alimony. My dear sister, Sussanne, did not take anything.
You and Bobby Deol were very close.
We held hands, we wrote letters to each other.
You and Neelam stopped talking to each other.
No.
Because Neelam came into Bobby Deol's life.
Neelam came into Bobby's life after Bobby and me. It wasn't like she broke us up.
Your dad drifted towards Zeenat Aman.
True, I agree with you. My father never raised his hand on Mrs. Zeenat Aman. I'm happy I can say that on camera today.
It is said that your dad had married Zeenat Aman.
Yes, he had. Rekha is the first person in my life who put lipstick on my mouth. Recently, she said, why don't you call me auntie? You know, everyone calls me auntie. And I said, because you don't look like an auntie. I said, you look so glamorous, I call you Ray. I know Akshay since years before he got married to Tina. I know him since the time he was dating Ravina, then Shilpa, then Tina. I see that I attract very young guys and attract men who are like 15 to 20 years younger to me. I had all this gemology knowledge and I said, now let's do jewelry design. And I started sketching, came back to India, fell in love with the profession, and here I am. I always tell people, I don't love to design, I live to design. And I think I'm very proud of myself because I built a very successful brand both internationally and in India. I had a very strict upbringing as far as my father. He never wanted his girls to be in the movies. If I get a role now, I would happily do it. Even though my mom was born a Parsi, got married a Muslim, she asked for us to cremate her as a Hindu. I write to her telling her about my day, what she means to me, and
You do that every day?
every other day.
So
She
you
was
also...
my universe, she was my world, she was someone. There could never be another Zarine Sanjay Khan.
आज द विकी लालवानी शो पर फारा खान अली. Thank you so much for joining me, Farah. Sanjay Khan and Zarine Khan's daughter, Zayed Khan's sister, Sussanne Khan's sister.
And Farah Khan, the jewellery brand.
Famous jewellery designer.
Absolutely.
Farah, I want to start with you by asking ये Farah Khan Ali क्या है? ये Ali थोड़ा confusing है because DJ से तो नहीं जुड़ा हुआ है. Your ex-husband DJ Aqeel.
True.
और एक और Farah Khan हमारे इंडस्ट्री में है. We all know who I'm talking about.
हाँ, Farah Khan कुंदर, जो डायरेक्टर है. तो ऐसे हुआ कि जब मैं अकील से मैं I was dating him and हमारी शादी होने वाली थी. अकील का जो लास्ट नेम था अकील अब्दुल खालिक बच्चू अली था. And I was like, I cannot have a name that goes Farah Bachchu Ali. So I told Aqeel, मैंने अकील से कहा कि as much as I love you, I have to tell you that I cannot take the name Bachchu Ali. And it doesn't sound so cool with me. So I'm going to drop the Bachchu and I'm going to keep the Ali, okay? And I think he was so in love with me at that point. He said, okay, no problem. So I said, okay, but on condition that if we have children, unke bhi naam Ali ho. It will not be Bachchu Ali. So he said, yeah, sure. So that's how I became Farah Khan Ali, and till today my children are called Azan Aqeel Ali and Fiza Aqeel Ali. And now Aqeel sometimes adopts the name Ali, but otherwise his actual name is Bachchu Ali. So that's the किस्सा.
Farah Khan Ali और Farah Khan. लोगों को बहुत confusion है.
कन्फ्यूजन होती है. और फारा मेरी बहुत ख़ास दोस्त है और वो हमेशा कहती है कि लोग मुझे कांटेक्ट करते हैं आपसे मिलने के लिए और ज्वेलरी ऑर्डर्स के लिए. और तो मैंने कहा वेल आई एम लकियर देन क्योंकि मुझे जो ये मेल मॉडल्स हैं मुझे ईमेल्स भेजते बेयर चेस्टेड अपने फोटोग्राफ्स के रोल्स के लिए. सो आई एम लकी आउट ऑफ द टू बिकॉज आई गेट टू सी दीज गॉर्जियस मेल मॉडल्स सेंडिंग मी देयर बेयर चेस्टेड बॉडीज यू नो एंड या सो वी लाफ एंड वी एक्सचेंज. ज़्यादातर कभी कभी जो भी कम्युनिकेशंस आते हैं मेरे घर पे फारा के लिए स्क्रिप्ट्स आई सेंड इट टू अ हाउस. मुझे एक लीगल नोटिस भी आ रहा था फारा के लिए क्योंकि आई थिंक फारा ट्विटर पे या कुछ हादसा था where she had said something and there was an FIR lodged against her and the legal notice came to me and I was like ये क्या हो रहा है you know and we laughed about it.
And those male models get replies from you? Sorry, wrong number.
No. मैं reply नहीं करती हूँ. मैं क्या करती हूँ forward करती हूँ वो messages and emails to Farah. You know, but sometimes I do tell them it's wrong Farah you've contacted, and I, you know, forward the messages.
You grew up in a household. Father Sanjay Khan, mother Zarine Khan, very famous parents. Parties, social gatherings, movies. How was it?
I have to say that I was blessed. My childhood was completely blessed. I was born with a golden spoon in my mouth. But my parents came from very humble beginnings. And so even though they had made their mark and they had become famous, they kept all their children very grounded. They wanted us to be humble. They wanted us to care about people from different stratas of society. So our upbringing was very normal. मेरी माँ जो थी हमेशा अपने बच्चों के ख्याल रखती थी, खुद खाना खिलाती थी, चाहे वो बाहर जा रही थी, even if she was getting dressed to go for out in the evening, dressed very glamorously, she would first stop, feed us and then go out, you know. She spent a lot of time with us. So ours was a very normal upbringing. We were kept away from the film line. हम स्टूडियोज़ नहीं जाते थे, हम घर पे डिस्कशंस फिल्मों के बारे में नहीं होती थी. हमारी जो प्लेग्राउंड थी was more intellectual, general knowledge, what's happening in the world, all those kind of subjects. Because my parents also, उनके जो दोस्त थे बहुत international, you know, दोस्त थे. They were like industrialists from abroad, industrialists from India, politicians, internationally, Indian politicians. Filmi, of course, log the, actors जो आते थे हमारे घर पे, because I remember all the rocking parties my mother and father used to have. As children, we used to peep out of the rooms to see what is happening because we weren't allowed to be in those parties. But we had basically a very happy, protected childhood, and I'm so grateful for that.
आपको कॉलेज में कहा गया था कि बस में जाओ, क्या ये सही है?
सही है. Up until the age of 13 या 14, मेरी ज़िंदगी एक महल में थी. I was like a princess. मैं कभी ट्रेन से ट्रैवल नहीं करती थी, कभी रिक्शा से नहीं ट्रैवल करती थी. Or, you know, always had a driver who would come and pick me up. And one day my parents tell me after I graduate from the 10th standard, my school, they say, now you have to go to Sapphire College, which was in Pedder Road. You have to go by bus and train, public transport. So I was in a shock and I was like, you know, why all of a sudden? And my father and my mother said to me, because we want you to sit with the common man and empathize with him and understand what they go through on an everyday basis. And, you know, at first I was not very happy with why I was being sent like this. But Vicky, that changed my life completely. It was the best thing that happened to me. Of course, the funniest story was that the first 1 week, I couldn't even get onto a bus because the bus would come, people would rush into the bus and the bus would go. And I'd be like, how do I get onto this bus? Because I was very ladylike and shy and very, very quiet and all of this. But 1 week later, I decided I'm going to step out of the bus stop, make eye contact with the bus driver. And trust me, the bus driver came and stopped just where I was. And I was the first to get onto the bus after that. For 4 years, I traveled every day to college by bus and train.
To and fro.
To and fro. And it changed me because I was such a shy person. And in the bus, in the public transport, you get people who try to touch you and misbehave with you. You know, you find all kinds of people. You find nice people, but you also find people who are taking advantage of you. So from this tame cat, this shy person, I became this wild cat. I would catch hold of people and twist their arm if they came to touch me or, you know, make me feel uncomfortable. And I think that changed me. It gave me the confidence from someone who would not know how to travel anywhere. I became this independent person. And more importantly, I became empathetic. I became caring. I would, you know, get up and give my seat to, you know, somebody who required it. And my friend who used to travel with me, she would always tell me, you're so, you know, too kind. Why do you have to always get up and give your seat to them? Because I want to sit, and every time you get up, I also have to get up. So she'd get very angry with me. And I would tell her, look, but, you know, we must, you know, we were so blessed. And I think all these habits inculcated with me when I came in touch with reality. And I think that's very important to be real, to be authentic, to understand that we are so privileged, and so we need to be kinder to other people.
Sorry for the interruption. अभी तक का इंटरव्यू आई होप आपको पसंद आ रहा है, लेकिन आगे बढ़ने से पहले थैंक यू. आप सभी ने मेरे इंटरव्यूज को बहुत सारा प्यार दिया है, बट आई हैव बीन टोल्ड कि आप में से सिर्फ 8% लोगों ने इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब किया है. What are you waiting for? सब्सक्राइब बटन दबाइए, बेल आइकॉन पे क्लिक कीजिए. अगर आप टेक्नोलॉजी से ज्यादा वाकिफ नहीं हैं, तो आस्क अ फ्रेंड और योर चाइल्ड टू हेल्प यू, एंड सब्सक्राइब टू नेवर मिस एनी इंटरव्यूज on the Vickey Lalwani show. And now, back to the video. Correct me if I'm wrong, but both your parents were very, very protective about you.
Very. That's because I
more
almost
than they were with Sussanne, Zayed, Simone.
Well, I was the eldest, but I almost died. Okay. And I had a very bad accident when I was 2 years old. I was on the beach playing in the sands, and a horse rider, I believe, came dangerously close to me and flung me in the air, and I landed on my head. And I was rushed to the hospital. That's what they tell me, because I have no recollection of this. And I had dislocated my shoulder, and I had a concussion on my brain that led me to epilepsy. And I had epileptic fits for 8 years of my life till I was 10 years old. And I almost died twice. My mother said that I turned blue and I almost stopped breathing, you know. So she was very protective, so protective that even if I was naughty, she would say, I'm sorry, I won't punish you, I won't shout at you, just come, you know, don't lock yourself up, come out of the room, you know, things like that, because I was a very naughty child. But yeah, I think that protective behavior only came because I would black out till the age of 13, 14. I'd be talking to people and all of a sudden find myself on the ground with everyone over me. And I'm so grateful, Vicky, that today I don't have any epilepsy.
Where did this happen?
Juhu Beach. In those days, they used to have horses on Juhu Beach. Well, I have a second lease of life, so I'm blessed.
कभी भी ऐसे नहीं लगा कि मैं movies join करूं, heroine बनूं?
I would say that ऐसे नहीं लगा क्योंकि I had a very strict upbringing as far as my father. He never wanted his girls to be in the movies.
Why?
I don't know. I just think he came from a background that was like only men should be in the movies and girls should not be in the movies. And also we weren't exposed to the film industry so much, like I said earlier. So वो नहीं थी कि, and also maybe घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर. So I wasn't really wanting to be in the movies. And हमारी जो you know language थी घर पे, जो हम बोली थी, ज़ुबान जो थी, was mainly English, क्योंकि my mom was Parsi और हम ज़्यादातर अंग्रेज़ी में बोलते थे. तो वो जो language ability होनी चाहिए when you're joining the film industry, that wasn't even developed in us. So there was no we didn't want to be an actor, you know. And looking back, I think maybe I should have gone against that and tried acting, because I think it would have been a new experience. And I think you should always try something once, you know. And I think maybe we were too obedient. We listened to my dad.
कभी बोला है उनको कि अलाउ करना चाहिए था, मुझे कभी कभी मन होता है कि मैं एक्टिंग में होती.
I think I don't have any regrets. But if I get a role now, I would happily do it. I don't have to ask for anyone's permission. So if anyone wants to give me a role, I will try.
I'm sure the producers and directors are listening.
Yeah, let's see.
So you got into designing jewellery. You're doing very well. We'll come to that. And at one point you fell in love with DJ Aqeel.
Right.
But before that, correct me if I'm wrong, it was said that you and Bobby Deol were very close.
We were childhood sweethearts. I mean, we were just basically, I had a massive crush on him, he had a massive crush on me, and that's it. I mean, nothing. We held hands, we wrote letters to each other, that's it.
No dating?
No, I mean, those days, it's not like today. It's like, I mean, we were very innocent. I mean, today, I think I was 16, Bobby was 17. Today, it's very different when you're 16 and 17. You're talking about like, I don't know, 40 years ago, you know. Life was very different. And Bobby today is one of my closest friends, and so is Tanya, his wife, who I adore from the bottom of my heart.
They were there at your store launch.
They're family actually to me, and there's nothing I would not do for both of them. And I'm so happy that they both found each other, because they're perfect for each other, you know. And yeah.
Because ऐसे कहा गया था कि you and Neelam at one point stopped talking to each other.
No.
Because Neelam came into Bobby Deol's life.
No, that's all not true at all. Neelam is my dearest friend. Neelam, in fact, came into Bobby's life after Bobby and me. It wasn't like she broke us up or any such thing. So I would not agree with that. In fact, I'm very close to Neelam. We've had the most amazing childhood memories, and I love her to death. In fact, we're still in touch, and there's no love loss. We're family again, you know. Honestly, I mean, why I say honestly is because if you know me, Vicky, I'm the most blunt person. I say it the way it is, and I always, I would not lie about anything about my life, because I've never done anything I really regret in my life, you know. And yeah. I
see that picture there which your daughter Fiza has written with a heart.
Yeah.
And she's used all the adjectives.
Well,
I think the adjective which really suits you the most is elegant.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicky. You made my day. But my daughter is my heart, my children are. And I think in life, what I've learned from my mother is one must always do what makes one feel happy. And one must never have any regrets. Whatever you go through highs in your life, you go through lows in your life. You know, someone hurts you, someone harms you, you let it go, you forget. Don't, just move on. Because the more you think about it, you're carrying that baggage with you, and you'll make yourself miserable. So don't be judgmental about other people, because you don't know what they're going through in their lives at that time, you know, and we all make mistakes. But if you don't make mistakes and you don't fall, how are you going to learn, you know?
Yeah, that's a very big, lesson from your mother.
Yeah. Who
also led by example, I think.
Absolutely. She was, my mom was my universe, my world. Losing her has been the greatest loss of my life, and I still don't know how I'm going to ever get over this loss, because, but I'm happy that she left my siblings and me so closely bonded that we would kill for each other. We're like one for all and all for one, because her most wish, when she'd always say, after I'm gone, I don't want any one of you fighting. And so even if we sometimes get in an argument, one of us will remind each other, like, remember what mom said? We must not get into an argument. We must not fight. And I think that's our greatest achievement as a family, the closeness and the bondedness. We would not fight over money or materialistic things, because my mom always told us that relationships need to be nurtured. Things can be replaced. Relationships cannot. So don't give more importance to things. Give more importance to relationships. And I think that's her legacy, and that's what we as a family have always tried to. So when people meet, my siblings or me, they always say, "You're so warm. You're so kind." And I think that comes from what my parents have inculcated in us, to be kind, to be empathetic, to listen to someone, to make them feel good about themselves. Because we live in a world where everyone's so busy talking about themselves that you forget to ask the person who's sitting in front of you, how is your life? What is happening in your life? Is there anything I can do for you? Because not many people will tell you that something's wrong with their lives, So sometimes you need someone to ask you,
I think what you're largely saying is that she taught you and the other children, don't be materialistic in life.
Yeah, true. Because in the end, you leave everything behind. No? I mean, my mom passed, everything she left behind, we have, now, and we, like, her jewellery, we distributed among Zayed, Sussanne, me and Simone, her clothes, everything, her bags, everything. But I mean, it's a way of us feeling close to her, but one day we're going to die and we're going to leave it behind. So in the end, it's basically, you only have memories with the person you love, and the jewellery, of course, I wear a lot of my mother's jewellery because it reminds me of her. It's her energy. It's the memories she had, so.
It happened very suddenly, I think. None of us knew anything about any illness. There was none, I believe.
Yeah. My mum was not unwell. She was hale and hearty. She had made a plan the next day for where she was going to go. She had made a plan to go to a musical evening. She, in fact, she would write in her diary her whole month plan. So she would say lunch with so-and-so, dinner with so-and-so, etc., etc. And she was shauqeen. She loved dressing up. She loved, wearing her beautiful jewelry, her clothes, meeting her friends. In fact, meeting her friends was the greatest thing of her life. And so, this year on her 82nd birthday, we as a family have invited all her friends to the house because we want to celebrate her memory, because her greatest thing was to meet her friends and to be surrounded by all the love, So she was hale and hearty. And so when she just went to sleep in the night and didn't wake up the next morning. When we found her, she was so peaceful that for a moment we thought she was sleeping because there was no angst on her face. She was just lying down like in a Buddha position, and it looked like she was so peaceful that when she had passed, it couldn't have been painful because they say that the medical doctors said that if a person is passed with pain, the face contorts. But my mum's face was very peaceful. But I think that's what she wanted because she would always pray and she'd tell us, I pray to my Sai Baba that, when I go, I'm just taken in an instant in my sleep, And even though she was born a Parsi, got married a Muslim, she asked for us to cremate her as a Hindu because she wanted to be immersed, her ashes immersed in flowing water in Kashmir. She was claustrophobic of being in a grave. And so that was one of the reasons she wanted to be cremated. And so we did. And it was really sad because when she passed, there were so many unkind comments on social media about both from Hindus and Muslims as to why are we cremating her? And Muslims were like, how can you cremate her? She's a Muslim. And the Hindus were like, how can you cremate her? She's a Muslim. It was sad because you live in a world, at least I come from a family where we were taught to love all religions, celebrate all festivals. And here, even in death, people were so anti each other. And this has only happened in the last 10 years in this country where people have fought against each other over religion and, it's sad. And But anyway, I ignored all those comments. I've become the ignoring queen. I can ignore trolls very well. I think I've become an expert in ignoring trolls, and because at the end of the day, I think you have only that much time, and you should only spend it with people who matter and people you love.
You are right. This question was asked. I mean, when journalists were also talking, when people were talking, I mean, from various professions, they were asking this question, that why has Mrs. Zarine Khan been cremated?
Yeah. But
I don't understand what right has anybody got that what one should wear, what one should eat, or how one should die and how one should live.
Exactly.
Who should one marry? Who should one not marry? I mean, I don't understand this.
Neither do I. And what was so beautiful at her memorial prayer ceremony, we had 5 priests from different religions, Parsi, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Sikh, all say prayers, And then the children and all of us spoke about her, and everyone who came there, over 2,000 people showed up on that prayer ceremony because she was so loved. And everyone said, we've never seen a chautha like that, where you have so many different religions and so many different priests, saying prayers. But my mum was a very noble soul, because one day after she passed, the Queen of Bhutan, Jetson, who's a personal friend of mine, sent me a message saying, Farah, I had never met your mother, but seeing by the way she shaped you, today in Bhutan on World Peace Day, there are 50,000 Buddhist monks praying for world peace, and I have given them to chant your mother's name, and so her soul departs. So I think she was blessed, because out of nowhere, out of the blue, on the 8th of November in Bhutan, there were 50,000 people, Buddhist monks, chanting my mother's name. And she sent me a picture of those Buddhist monks. So it was a very surreal feeling, and a feeling of gratefulness and gratitude to the universe that my mother departed in such a manner where so many people from different parts of the world reached out. 7th of November, so it's going to be 8 months now. 7th of June was 7 months. 7th of July will be 8 months.
Silly question to ask, but how has Dad's life changed after losing his wife?
I think, men don't really take loss very well. My father is no exception. I think he had taken my mother for granted because she was always there. And today, I think he deeply misses her. But he also is someone who keeps himself very busy, because he knows that if he doesn't keep himself busy, he will be in deep pain, So we do talk about her occasionally, but I think right now he tries to block it out, because he lived with her and she was there 24/7. So he of course hasn't taken it very well, but he's dealing with it, as are all of us. Till today, I think it's very stressful for me as a daughter. I write to her. I have a diary. I write to her mentioning, I'm sorry. I write to her telling her about my day, what she means to me. And
you do that every day?
Every other day.
So
she was my universe, she was my world, she was someone. There could never be another Zarine Sanjay Khan. I mean, she had 2 superpowers: to make everyone feel loved and to forgive and forget. I mean, even anywhere in the world I go today, I still have people who haven't met her, who are moved by her. People who've even met her for maybe 5 minutes and say the energy, the light she brought to the room. I mean, your mother was something else, So I feel blessed that I had her in my life. I feel blessed I have her DNA, and I feel blessed that my siblings and me are trying to do what she would do,
You guys are exactly doing what she asked. that group which you mentioned, all for one and one for all, is something that Zayed also told me. And I had met Zayed, your brother, at your house much before Mummy passed away. And he quite elaborated on the three sisters having saved his life, if I can say that. He said, I was on a path where, you know, things had gone wrong. And suddenly my three sisters came to me and said, you have to go somewhere, you have to do this, you have to do that. He did not divulge the details, where he went, whom he met, where he stayed during that period, where he changed as a person.
Well, I think it's important that as siblings, we always look out for each other. And if one is going through a low, haq banta hai ke you pull that person up. I mean, anyone in your family, haq banta hai that you pull that person up. You know, you mustn't... always remember that relationships need to be nurtured, whether it's a spouse relationship, whether it's a sibling relationship, whether it's a parent relationship. I always ask my friends who have parents, how often do you go see your parents? You must go spend time with them because, you know, as you grow into adults, you forget that your parents have become children and they need you. So you must go and spend time with them. Also, if you want your marriages to work out, you need to work at it. Sometimes it doesn't work out, like mine didn't work out because Imtu Aqeel is an amazing person. I have no animosity towards him. We were just two different people and we discovered it as we grew older. When we were younger, we didn't see that. But as we grew older, we discovered that we're two different people. He's a night person, I'm a day person. You know, ironically, our professions are, I'm JD, jewelry designer, and he's DJ, the opposite. So, but we have a great relationship because when I decided to even, break off with him.
You took the call.
I took the call, yes. Because I didn't want to be in a marriage just for the heck of it. Also, I would want to meet some other people and I don't want to be dating someone while being married because I feel that's not the right thing to do. I mean, you should have clean relationships, you know. And so I decided to, and also he was dating, wanted to date other people. So it made no sense for us to be together. And today he's in a relationship with someone and I'm really happy for him. I've never tried to get the children to be against him because I feel their relationship with their father has nothing to do with my relationship with him. Right? And I think that's the way one should look at it always. One should not try to fight your battles with someone else involved, Of course, we've had our ups and downs, but I think now we've passed all that. And Aqeel very sweetly was telling me the other day, in my will, I want to leave the children half and you half. And I said to him, thank you very much, but I don't want that. I think you should leave it to your children because I'm not married to you any longer. And though there's a love and a respect for me, I don't want to pay stamp duty. But no, I'm joking. I didn't want to take anything. I said, because like I said, I'm not materialistic. And I think that's why we had such an amazing divorce. When the divorce happened, I didn't say, I want this money and I want this alimony and I want this maintenance. I just said, I want a divorce. And that's it, And I think that worked. And maybe because I'm also blessed that I support my own life as well. I work hard. I don't ask anyone to support me. And it's also very, how do we say, it's the most amazing thing to have financial freedom. Because my mom told me that when we were growing up, if you have financial freedom, you have all the freedom in the world. Otherwise, freedom means nothing if you cannot make your choices. Otherwise, you have to ask someone, can I do this? Can I get this? And I felt free. So we got divorced. We're happily as a family together. And he has a girlfriend. I'm very, very single, looking to mingle if I find the right person. Haven't found the right person yet, Vicky, because I am so busy working. I'm a workaholic, and the two things I do is working and working out. So, because for me, workouts are really important. Health is important.
You said you wanted to meet people. So, I mean, it's been quite a while.
But where's the time to meet people?
You separated from DJ.
Oh.
About 8-9 years, you were not living together also before the divorce.
2012 is when we had problems, but we separated 2016. I got divorced very late, actually, 2021, because he didn't want to get divorced first. Then I waited for him to find a girlfriend, and then I said, I want a divorce, and he's like, okay. I was like, yeah.
He was reluctant.
Yeah, he was reluctant. But anyway, but at that point, as soon as he found himself a girlfriend, I took the opportunity. Yes, I want a divorce. But then he broke off with that girlfriend. He introduced me to one girl, and he said, I want you to meet her. And 1 week later, he broke up with her. And I said, you're wasting my time. What is this? Don't do that, But then he found someone else, and now he's happy with her. So I'm happy for him, I haven't found anyone because I haven't had the time. I've had a lot of people who have liked me. I've gone out on dates, maybe 1 or twice. But I see that I attract very young guys, and I attract men who are like 15 to 20 years younger to me. And that's not what I'm actually looking for. I'm looking for someone, I don't mind up to 10 years younger, but definitely not 15 to 20 years younger. Because I feel that I need to be with someone who is emotionally available. And as you grow older, it's not just about being in a relationship for physical means. You want to be with someone who you have communication with, you have respect for, who have companionship, who you can travel with, laugh with, joke with, have meaningful conversations. I'm not looking for someone to support my life. I'm not looking for me to support someone else's life. I'm looking for an equal partner who I vibe with on a certain level. He doesn't have to, be a multi-billionaire, but he shouldn't be either a very broke person. I mean, because you have to be somewhere in the middle, because otherwise we would not have the similar lifestyles, But I'm not looking for a sugar daddy, and I'm not looking for a toy boy. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking for someone nice, a normal person, who is very athletic, of course, because I'm super athletic. So if I'm going to climb the mountain, he cannot be huffing and puffing at the bottom of the mountain. Okay. So he has to be in good athletic conditioning, because I'm one of those people who jumps out of a plane for kicks, swims with anacondas in the Amazon, or, dives underwater, scuba diving. I love doing crazy things, because I believe you live life once, and if you don't make memories and moments, what's the point? You don't want to do the same things every day and have nothing to talk about. Well, the funniest is actually I jumped out of the plane when I was at the lowest point of my life, because I was considering at that point divorcing Aqeel, and I was thinking how to do it, and he wasn't agreeing to the divorce at that point. And so I was like, let me jump out of the plane, because, if anything happens, it's fine. I'm at the lowest point in my life. I don't care. But it was the highest point of my life, and I had the most amazing time. I mean, I have to tell you that I think everyone should jump out of a plane. But for me, I didn't. The scariest moment was not jumping out of the plane. The scariest moment is because we went up to try to jump out of the plane. The first time the pilot went out, he said the wind was really bad and we couldn't jump out. So he had to bring the plane back. Okay. But the moron of that pilot, he took the plane and he flipped it. Okay. And when you're at an unpressurized cabin, 13,000 feet above the ground, where you're flying upside down, my brains felt that they're going to explode out of my brain. I was in so much pain. I felt my eyeballs were going to come out of my sockets. That's how it is, because unpressurized cabin. And I asked the parachute person with me, I said, why is he doing this? What is he doing? And she said, he never does this. This is the first time he's done that. So the second time we went up to jump out of the plane, it was the easiest thing in the world because the jump was so easy. The worst was the flipping of the plane. So.
And who was with you at that time?
Nobody, just I was alone.
You must have given anxious nights to DJ.
No, I didn't. He didn't even know I went to jump.
With all these ideas in your mind.
No, but he didn't even know I attempted to jump. After jumping, I told everyone. I didn't even tell my parents.
What was the parents' reaction when you told them that you want to end the marriage with DJ?
So I have to tell you something very funny. 2012 is when I had the issues that had started with Aqeel. And I wanted to tell my parents then, but in 2012, Sussanne was having issues with Hrithik, okay? And she beat me to telling my parents. So I couldn't join the bandwagon and say, me too. My parents
would have
had a heart attack and both the daughters say, me too. So I decided to be quiet and not say anything because there's too much drama happening with Sussanne and Hrithik and the whole world at that point. And so I waited for Sussanne and Hrithik to pass. And I told my parents in 2016. Sussanne and Hrithik got divorced in 2014, I think. 2016, I told my parents. My mom was very cool. She said, whatever makes you happy, if that's the thing. Because at the end of the day, you have to be happy. If you're not happy. But they both said that Aqeel's a nice guy, but obviously you're both incompatible. And so they were not very happy. My dad wasn't very happy. My mom was fine. But till today, they maintain that he's a nice guy because Aqeel is not a bad guy. He's a good guy. It's just that we were incompatible after a certain age, you know. He remained maybe being 25 in his mind, and I moved on to being, you know, older in my mind, because I had so many responsibilities. For him, it was about going out, partying, coming out late, coming back late. For me, it's about waking up early, looking into the children, looking into my work, lots of things. So it's very difficult to live with someone who is just the opposite of your life, But I think then they accepted it.
When जब ऋतिक और सुजैन का आपने बताया मॉम डैड को, उस वक्त क्या हुआ?
Hangama hua. I think everyone was like, in a shock as to how can this happen. There was a lot of hue and cry. There were opinions from everyone about their personal life, but only the wearer knows where the shoe pinches. And I think they both conducted it beautifully. I think it was amicable. The one thing I want to say on record is there was never 400 crore alimony, and I feel sick at the bottom of my heart when I see the people online saying that 400 crores was paid and Sussanne got richer and all of that. And that is a lie. I mean, that is such a lie that I don't think, such kind of news should be concocted, because my dear sister did not take anything. And because we come from a family and a mother who taught us that materialistic things are not important, relationships are more important. So my sister didn't take anything. And that's why today, the kind of relationship she has with her ex-husband, Hrithik, even her ex-in-laws, Pinkie and Rakesh, Roshan, is amazing. They love her, I think she conducted herself very, very sophisticatedly in a very nice manner. She wasn't a gold digger. That's not who Sussanne is. Sussanne comes from a very Khandani family, is very elegant. And Hrithik also is a wonderful man. And, it didn't work out for them. But, you don't need to make your marriage, I would say, you don't need to blow up your marriage for the sake of the press and unkind press. So I feel that that's the one thing I want to say on record. There was no 400 crore alimony. There was no alimony in this. So whoever's saying that she walked away with 400 crores, it's incorrect and completely bad in law.
It must have hurt her reading all these reports.
Of course. And I always used to tell her, why don't you
Gold digger, 380 crores, 400 crores.
I told her, I said, why don't you deny all this? And she said, Farah, I really don't care what people think about me, because if I cared about what people think about me, I'd be the most, I'd be a different person. And I think we all like that. Even I don't care what people think about me. I do whatever I want to do, because I believe I have one rule. If you don't support my life, you don't matter. Your thoughts don't matter to what you think about me, So unless you bring some value into my life, what I do should not matter to you, and what you think of me should not matter to me.
But is it true that Hrithik was not all for the marriage when they got married?
No.
When Sussanne and Hrithik got married?
That's not true. They were madly in love. They were together and they wanted to get married. He was a superstar at that point. I think his parents wanted him to wait a little while before getting married because he was a superstar. They thought it would affect his stardom. But no, he was very committed to the wedding and he wanted to get married. So
it didn't affect his stardom. In fact,
it didn't.
He became bigger by the day.
Yeah.
So today, if you see Sussanne, she looks so happy.
That's what I said. No, it's important.
With Arslan Ghani, she's so happy.
So it's important to be happy in life if you want to be the best version of yourself. So I always tell people, be with people who make you happy. Don't be with people just because society thinks you need to be with someone, And Arslan is a wonderful man. He keeps Sussanne very happy and Sussanne's very happy with him, They found each other, they found compatibility together, they have similar interests. And I think looks out for her, he's very concerned about her. And it's nice to see the caring that he has for her and likewise the caring that she has for him,
They're living together?
They don't live together.
They don't?
No, they don't live together. She lives with her 2 sons and Arslan lives separately.
Are they getting married?
I don't think that's been discussed, no. I'm happy for her, I'm happy for Hrithik and Sabha also.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that people find people that make them happy. And, like when we all get together, with everyone's, exes and everyone's present. And society is very amused by how we can be so casual about it. But it's not about being casual. It's about having no animosity, having no baggage, having no negativity. You moved on. So why shouldn't you be happy for the person you've left? Why should it be that person needs to suffer? Why do you need someone else to suffer to be happy? That's not the way life should be. You should be happy for everyone. Only then can you be truly happy, because happiness is something that only grows when you make someone else happy. Think about it. When you do something good for someone, you all of a sudden feel good about yourself. When you do something negative towards someone, you feel bad about yourself. I said happiness is contagious. When you do something happy for someone, you feel happy about it when you make them feel good, And when you do something negative to someone, you feel bad. So it's very important to feel good about yourself. Tell me, today you're sitting with me and in the back of your mind, you've come to meet me and you've done something at home today that has upset someone else. It's going to nag you in your mind. Because
it's going to bother me.
It's going to bother you
during the interview
because you don't have peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to have peace of mind. That's what I tell people. Don't hold grudges, because when you have a grudge, you can never have peace of mind.
I was just about to ask you while you were going on with this viewpoint of yours. Is it really easy? Because, you say that the people are also very amused when they see all this. Even when we see Aamir Khan, for example, let's take his three wives together in the same car.
Why not? I think it's so cool. I think Aamir's a cool dude. And I think, obviously, he must have respected each of his wives and their relationships for them to be so comfortable with him moving on with someone else. I think every relationship that has respect can move on,
I correct myself, 2 wives and the third to be, maybe.
Yeah.
The rumors are that he's getting married again in July.
Way to go. I don't know about Aamir, but I have to say on camera, if I find someone, the intent is not to get married. The intent is to have a companion. If God wills that I get married, maybe I will. But once been there, twice, I don't want to get married. I like the idea of having someone who's your companion and who you can date. You know.
But in an earlier interview, DJ also said that his lifestyle was one of the reasons which disturbed the marriage. And he said clubs, drinks.
Yeah.
So did that really get on you very badly? Was he a changed man when he came home after drinks, say, from a DJ session?
Firstly, when someone's drinking, I never talk to them. So no, I think your lifestyle would affect you, because if you're coming home late in the morning, early in the morning, and I'm waking up to go to work or go to the gym and go to work, you don't get time to connect, because I come home from work and you're getting ready to go to work, you know. So I think that was a very major part of our relationship, where there was no communication, because you're all the time traveling, you're not at home, we're in different timelines. I'm dealing with the children, I'm dealing with the house, you know. Yeah, I would say that's the incompatibility was the lifestyle. So it's very important when people choose partners, to choose partners whose lifestyles match, you know, who have the similar value systems. All of that is important, you know.
How did the children take it? Must be tough to an extent.
Initially, you know, the children never saw Aqeel and me fight, because I would never fight with Aqeel in front of the children. But they also knew that we were two different people. Like today, my kids say, how on earth were you and my father married? You know, literally. They cannot, because we're so different. We're such different personalities. You know, they see him, of course, as the more fun part, and I'm the most serious part. But I always tell them, I said, you know what? I had to be the serious part, because when your father and I would go out, he would drink, he would party. And I had to be sober, because if anything happened to you, I had to be alert in the middle of the night to be home. Two people cannot be partying and drinking and lost in nasha while you have children. You have to, one person has to be responsible, right? So I said, they obviously view me as a serious one, but my priority was my kids, my family. And, you know, maybe being the elder sister, I've always been the responsible one. Ironically, till today, you know, whether it's been friends, whether it's been family, I'm the one person people call in the middle of the night, and I normally land up, you know, at a police station or a hospital, trying to save someone else, you know. And it's something that, and maybe because I've always been in such a position where I've always assisted someone, I've never wanted to lose control of myself. So I cannot help someone else, because I need to be there for someone else if they need me, you know. And maybe that's the role I play in my life. And maybe that's what the universe wishes for me. So I became the most serious one. And obviously, Aqeel was the more fun one, because, you know, he didn't have the responsibility of doing what I was doing.
I'm really enjoying this interview, because you're very, very honest. Very forthcoming, very candid.
That I think all my friends, even my Instagram family, and everyone tells me that. My clients actually who follow me on Instagram tell me, you're very honest. You always say what's on your mind. And I say, that's exactly why I have peace of mind. I don't have to make up stories. I don't have to remember anything. Because when you speak the truth, it just comes so naturally. You're not saying, you know, kya kaha tha maine? What did I say? Let me remember. You just say it the way it is.
Yeah, in such a situation, when you say it as it is, you will never contradict your own self.
Exactly.
As I move on to your dad, the first question that comes to mind is, which films of your dad you just love?
But,
say if I was to ask you 3 and then rate it as 3, 2, 1.
I would have to say the first film of my dad I loved was, I think, this movie called Das Lakh. I remember it as a child. I loved the film. It was with Babita, you know, and him. And it was a very funny story with Om Prakash, the actor.
That famous song, Garibon Ki Suno.
Yeah. And then I loved Ek Phool Do Mali. I mean, I'm talking about those because it was with Sadhna, and it was, my dad looked super handsome, and it was a beautiful romantic film. And in the later years, I really liked his film Abdullah. because I have a lot of memories of Abdullah because of Raj uncle and Papa. My dad was very close to Raj Kapoor. My father was like a son to him. And we spent a lot of time with Raj uncle in the deserts of Rajasthan, shooting there. And I have memories of us being on the sets there because my father had taken us there. And the movie had a beautiful story about a Hindu child being adopted by a Muslim man, my father. And the premise was so beautiful that that became my favorite film. And in spite of adopting a Hindu child, the Muslim man brings him up as a Hindu, And so I love that because, you see, my parents have always inculcated this beauty of a religion in our lives. Like, you mustn't think of religion as yours is best and someone else is worst. It was always about humanity. So the film stressed on humanity. And that's why it became one of my favorites.
Full marks to them for telling you this.
Yeah.
So you were on the set all the time?
No. I mean, because we had holidays.
For a short stint?
We had holidays, so we went to, when there was a holiday, my father would take us along. Like Mauritius when he was shooting Chandi Sona. In fact, my father is they speak of him as the father of Indian films because his film Chandi Sona was the first one to be shot in Mauritius, and we were very close to the Prime Minister Chacha Sir Ram Ghulam, and even the opposition Sir Gaiton Duval at that point. And I grew up. I have a lot of memories there. It's a beautiful country, and I want to go back. I remember once Aqeel and I were on a honeymoon there, and I got stopped by the cops because I was driving on the road and the light was on full beam and it shouldn't have been. And the cops said, license. And the moment I gave them my license, they said, oh, you're Mr. Sanjay Khan's daughter. You don't know what fans we are. So instead of giving me a ticket, they said, can we take a picture with you? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's take the picture. And we ended up taking a picture and they let me go. And Aqeel was very impressed, saying, your dad saved us from a ticket. I said, yeah.
I'm connecting the previous point which I told you about your mother, that she led by example when you said forget and forgive. And you just mentioned Abdullah.
Right.
If you connect these two, your mother had to bear a lot.
Yes, she did.
During the making of Abdullah and post that period.
Right.
Because your dad drifted towards Zeenat Aman.
True, I agree with you. And I was very young at that point, so I don't have very strong memories. I was about 10 or something, I remember, or maybe 9. And I just remember, I just know one thing for a fact was that, this fake story that keeps coming up on social media about my father beating Zeenat Aman and her eye getting hurt. That's all hogwash because my father has never raised his hand on my mother, forget my mother or any of his daughters. And he's not a violent man to raise a finger on a woman, okay? And what I know of is my mom told me that Miss Aman's mother suffered from some eye disease, which her eye also was a little smaller. And so it was something genetic that happened to Miss Aman, not something that the press wrote about, because my mum's, who I believe is the most honest person, told me that my father never raised his hand on Mrs. Zeenat Aman. So all this nonsense about a party where my father beat her is bullshit. And I'm happy I can say that on camera today because I wanted to clarify this. It's not true. And I believe my mother because my mother, like me, would never lie, And yes, of course, it almost broke their marriage. And my mom was a very strong lady because she gave birth to Zayed at that point, and she took off for 4 months, 3 months actually. And she left Zayed behind with my dad and with all of us. And she came back looking like $1 million. And my father was like, wow, what happened, here? Because, and I think that was the shift when he realized that my mom was someone who was independent and could just take off and do what she wanted. And she didn't depend on him. And I think that's what brought him back, when he realized that she conducted herself very ladylike. My mom's not someone who would, speak badly of anyone. Even, when she spoke to us of what happened, she said, your father was attracted to her. So I don't just blame her, I blame your father as well. There was an attraction on both sides. Maybe at that point, there was something wrong with their marriage that it happened, or maybe it just happened. But I do believe her when she said that Mrs. Zeenat Aman was not beaten by my dad. And I have to vouch and say my father has never raised a finger on my mother or any of his daughters. And he's one of those people who used to get into fights as a youngster if any person abused in front of a woman, because he felt that you must never use foul language in front of a woman. As a child, I remember we were at the China Garden once, and one actor, I will not take his name, got a little high and started abusing in front of all the women and all of us, the children there. And my father got into a fight with that guy and told him to stop abusing, So that's because my father is very old school values as far as women. He thinks women should be protected, women should be respected, women should be looked after, and so I would definitely have to refute that rumor and say it out loud and clear. That's bullshit.
There were reports which even said that your mom also got into the fight. You must have read those reports.
Do you actually think my mother would get into a fight with any other woman and beat her? Just think about it. No. My mom's not the type. My mom's too elegant a person. I just think that, like the fake news about the alimony, this is as fake.
It is said that your dad had married Zeenat Aman.
Yes, he had at that point.
So how did it end?
I think
eventually?
it was a Muslim. I don't know. There was a Muslim way of getting married, and then he divorced her in the Muslim way as well. You're asking the wrong person, because I'm not one of those very, conventional Muslims who knows all the Muslim rules.
Did you, at any point of time in your life, ask your dad about this?
No, I didn't ask him because I didn't feel the need to. And my mother had forgiven him and moved on. So it's like you saying that, when I was married to Aqeel had an affair, so my children should ask Aqeel about the affair. Why? It doesn't make sense. Like I said, my relationship with my husband should not be my children's relationship with my husband, right? So my mother's relationship with my father should not be my father's relationship with me.
Did he? Did Aqeel have an affair?
I don't know. I'm sure he did. I'm 100% sure he did. Though, of course, he denied it, but I'm sure he did.
When he was married to you?
I'm dead sure he did. But nobody's going to come and say, yes, I'm having an affair.
I still focus on your honesty, your candidness, the fact that you're forthcoming. It has landed you in a lot of hot spots. For example, I remember you saying something about Salman Khan on Twitter.
I didn't say anything about Salman. I took up for Salman.
Yes.
Because Salman,
in support.
Salman is a friend of mine. And
in the hit and run case.
Yeah, I did.
And
but you know what?
You faced a lot of backlash.
I know, but looking back at that, I now know they were all bots. I know exactly how social media works now.
You landed in trouble when you lashed out at Urfi Javed.
I didn't lash out at her. I have to tell you that Urfi is a lovely person. In fact, we've become good friends now. And it came from a space of where I was feeling sick to see the cheap comments towards her from random men. Here was this young girl, I was 22, I was getting all these cheap comments, and I was like, why is she doing this? And my mistake was I voiced it out on her page. I should have voiced it out to her personally, And then I said, I apologized for her. I apologized to her and I said, look, I didn't mean it that way. I just didn't want people to speak ill about this young girl who's pretty, who's gorgeous, and say things about her because they were really lewd, cheap comments, And it made me sick in the thing to see. I was like, why are you wanting that attention? Now when I look back, I see that she wanted that attention because she then could, have a platform. Not everyone is lucky maybe to be, come from a family which is known, and then you can have a platform. So I get it. I mean, a lot of people do things because they need to have a platform. And maybe I was a bit quick to react, and I shouldn't have reacted that way. I should have DM'd her and told her. But now we actually met up, we took a picture, we're in touch, and all is good.
You said Salman is a close friend.
Salman is somebody I've known for many years. We used to celebrate our birthdays together because he's 27th of December and I'm 28th of December, okay? So when we were younger, we used to have our birthdays together, at my home, my parents' home. And over the years, I've seen him as someone who's, grown tremendously. I've appreciated all the humanitarian efforts he makes. For me, I know the family personally. Even when my mom passed, Salim uncle, with all his, he was not well and he made it to the prayer ceremony. And Salman wasn't there and he messaged and, he was very concerned. So I feel close to the family. I feel protective about him. And even though I may not meet him very often nowadays, there is a bond. Like if I need something and I probably pick up the phone and I tell Salman, I need something, I know he will be there because he's the kind of person, maybe like me, because we're Capricorns. If somebody calls me and asks me to be there for them, I will. So maybe, Salman, I know, would be there for me if I asked him, even though we're not that close anymore and we don't meet each other. But when there's tragedy, there's problems, he's always been around, And I think you should always appreciate your friends when they can be with you through tragedy more than just when people are there to celebrate with you.
When I see the number of celebrities or the number of industry people coming at your store launch, the list is so long, but I'm still tempted to ask you, who are your close friends in the industry?
I have to say I have a lot of goodwill from everyone who attended my store opening, and so I'm blessed in that condition thing. I would say my close friends are definitely Bobby, my Jan, and Tanya, very, very close. Sush, of course, I love because I love her, how she is. I love Dimple. I love Rekha. Rekha is someone I've known for years. In fact, she's the first person in my life when I was a kid who put lipstick on my mouth, Simone and me, and I was like, wow, I got lipstick on my mouth and I didn't close my mouth because, And she told me recently, she said, why don't you call me auntie? Everyone calls me auntie. And I said, because you don't look like an auntie. I said, you look so glamorous, I call you Ray, And so I'm very close to her. I'm close to Dimple also. I call her Dimpy, even though Tina and I grew up very close together. Because I love her candor. I love the person she is. She's very open, honest, And of course, one out of my mum's friends, I'm very fond of Honey Auntie, Honey Akhtar. And I love Zoya. Zoya is a lovely person, So I have a lot of friends, actually. Sometimes it gets difficult to keep in touch with everyone. I know Akshay since years before he got married to Tina. I know him since the time he was dating Ravina, then Shilpa, then Tina, because Akshay and I used to work out together at 4 o'clock in the morning. One thing we have in common is fitness. So we used to work out together. We used to go rock climbing. We used to work out at his terrace. Very, very into fitness. We're both crazy. Even today he says, whenever I look at you, you look the same on. I said, yeah, but even whenever I look at you, you look the same. So I call him Raju because that's his name. Yeah.
So, any get-togethers or any lunches, dinners, आप लोग जाते हो, चलो phone उठाया, 3 जन को बुलाया, मिलते हैं आज?
Bhagat, there used to be a time we'd meet up more often. It's very difficult in today's time because all of a sudden there's no time. That's the only thing I really need time in my life. I'm telling you, if I get time, I'll try to find someone in my life who I can meet. I'm not even getting time for that. come on, you've been trying to get me to do this interview for so long, okay? I have cancelled at least twice, because there was so much happening that I wanted to be in the mental space of mind to do this. I just didn't want to just do it because I made a commitment to you. And for me, a commitment is very important. It may not happen at that point, but I will make sure that if I've said yes to somebody, I will do it. I have to say, for me, my word is my contract. And I always tell people, you should live your life where your word is your contract. If you say you're going to do something, you do it, or you don't do it. But you have to. And if you can have that kind of reputation where your word is your contract, you will always have a happy life, because you will always do what you say and people will have trust in you. You can buy anything in the world, but you can't buy loyalty. You can't buy trust. You can't buy credibility. You can't buy reputation.
ये तो आपके क्लोज फ्रेंड सलमान की लाइन हो गई ना, एक बार कमिटमेंट कर दी.
तो मैंने कहा ना, हम कैप्रिकॉर्न्स हैं. हमारे सलमान इज अ कैप्रिकॉर्न, आई एम अ कैप्रिकॉर्न, धीरूभाई अंबानी, रतन टाटा, वी शेयर द सेम डेट ऑफ बर्थ, वी ऑल कैप्रिकॉर्न्स. हमारी जो कमिटमेंट है, हमारी जो जुबान है, इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग टू ऑल ऑफ अस, आई थिंक, at least to me, for sure.
You said you're very close to Bobby's wife, Tanya.
Yeah.
And we spoke about Neelam in context of Bobby earlier.
Right.
How is the equation with Neelam?
Neelam, I told you, is my Jaan. I meet Neelam a lot. In fact, we make a lot of, plans to meet up. I meet her a lot because we grew up together. We have many shared stories. I've known her since I was in the 9th grade. So I know all of Neelam's dirty, dark secrets, and she knows all of my dirty, dark secrets. But they're not that dirty. They're just innocent, dirty secrets. Yeah.
I move on to another tragic part of your life, if I can say another. Your dad's accident. The sets of Tipu Sultan in Mysore, Premier Studios. 40 people died.
No, 54 people died.
54.
4 survived.
That's a correction for the internet then.
Yeah.
And your dad suffered 65% burns.
I don't even want to think about that time. It was the worst period of my life. After my mother's passing, of course. The first day I saw him, Vicky, I was in a shock because he was in Bangalore, shifted from Mysore. He was completely charred. His face was swollen and was bleeding, and he was all dark. And I couldn't recognize him. I could only recognize his voice because, when I said Papa and he spoke, I was like, oh my God, this cannot be my father. And I remember that day so distinctly because that day, Rajiv Gandhi, who was the Prime Minister, he had written, my father was a very close friend of him because my father had campaigned for him. He shut down the entire city of Bangalore, and we were rushed from Bangalore to an aircraft where 18 seats were removed. Yeah, and my father was taken from there to Bombay, and the whole city came to a standstill. Bangalore, and then we landed in Bombay, and the whole city came to a standstill in Bombay because time was the essence. And we rushed to Jaslok Hospital. And when my father came into Jaslok Hospital, the doctor there said, there are very slim chances of him surviving unless we amputate his hands. And my mother said, no way, we're not going to amputate his hands, because if we amputate his hand, he's never going to forgive me, And so we just hoped for a miracle, and we spent 8 months in hospital with 88 blood transfusions, 65 surgeries, literally. My dad had surgeries like you can't even imagine. And he almost died 3 times on the operating table. And but in spite of all of that, my father didn't know how bad he was, because my mother would enter that room and tell us, when you walk in to see your father, nobody is going to be sad. Everyone is going to look like he's fine. Because she said, if the patient doesn't think the patient is bad, he's going to recover. So she would walk into that room and put on makeup and look good and make him feel like he's good. And he didn't know how bad he was. And she would walk out of the room and she would cry because we didn't know if he was going to survive. We spent 8 months in hospital like this. And my father survived and went on to actually, the doctor said he would not be able to write, not be able to drive a car, not be able to ride a horse because his fingers had been, affected. He went on to shoot in the deserts of Rajasthan 1 year after that, and he rode a horse. And he actually completed his film. That was the determination that my father got. But that was the worst time in my life because we had many compensation cases against us, though it was the studio that was at fault. We ended up, having a lot of financial problems, but thanks to my mother earning at that time, that time was tied. It went through and that's why my mother always told us it's very important for a woman to be financially independent, because if you have all your eggs in one basket, when you have calamity, then it's going to be difficult.
He went on to complete that
yes, he went
project Tipu Sultan.
Absolutely.
And it released in 1990.
And it became a super hit. It released in, I think, 1991. The accident was, no, 1990, you're correct. The accident was in 1989 on the 8th of February. When my father has survived, mashallah, a fire accident, and after that he survived a helicopter plane crash with Dr. Vijay Mallya, which a helicopter that fell from the sky, I think about 200 meters to the ground or something like that. And Dr. Vijay Mallya and him were in the flight. And Vijay told my dad, he says, Sanjay, I've only survived because you're with me, because you're a miracle man, And so my father has had, even as a child, he escaped death by diphtheria. He was struck by diphtheria. So he's been lucky, touch wood. Yeah.
You did not tell us that what Simone, you and Sussanne did for Zayed. कहाँ भेजा उसको? क्या मतलब कैसे ठीक हुआ वो? और he is looking so handsome now. He's looking such a changed man. As I told you, I met him a few months before your mother passed away. He was looking dapper. He was looking super confident.
Well, I'm happy, and all I can say is that's for Zayed to reveal to you, not us.
That's the only thing which Farah is not going to tell us in this interview.
Because I think that some people have to tell their stories to you. I can't be the one to tell you about his story.
When I was coming to the interview, I read a line which you have said, that I like to design jewellery for people who wear it rather than keeping it in their lockers.
True. I like to design jewelry that has intention, that is meaningful, that has soul, because I want people to look at it and remember a beautiful memory and a moment in their life. So I want them to wear it. What's the point of just wearing jewelry that's meant to be kept in a locker? You should wear it. It should remind you of a loved one. It should remind you of a precious memory. It should remind you of something that you did to celebrate yourself.
You loved jewelry from your teenagehood or college days? Because to fall in love with this profession, you need to fall in love with the object first.
So I didn't plan to be a jewelry designer, but I think my mom was very keen that I become a jewelry designer. I just wanted to go to LA and I wanted to party. I was not interested in being a jewelry designer, but since my friend who was going to LA said there's this gemology course and come there and you can become a jewelry designer. I said, yeah, let's go. Because I needed some excuse to get out of India. I can't tell my parents I'm going to LA to live there on my own, So I signed up for this course, told my dad I'm going to be a jewelry designer. Of course, I didn't know that gemology and jewelry design are two different things. Gemology is a science and jewelry design is creativity, and I was terrible in maths and science. But because I was so excited, I didn't do any background check. I paid the fees, which was exorbitant in those days. And I landed up in LA very excited that it's going to be a sketching course and I'm going to be a jewelry designer. And then I landed up opening my books and it was a science course. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm going to die. How am I going to learn this? Because the questions there was, what is the refractive index of a diamond? What's the specific gravity of a diamond? And all those things. So Vicky, I went to America to become the party animal, but I ended up becoming the Indian nerd. I studied every day of my life. I literally mugged the course from day one to day 180. It was a 6-month course, and I mugged it backwards. So whatever, day 1, day 2, day 3, so 3, 2, 1, and backwards. Trust me, I maxed my papers, and I came the top of my class. And I realized then, even if you're not good at anything in life, if you're consistent, and you repeat it, you will become excellent. And then I had all this gemology knowledge, and I said, now let's do jewelry design. And I started sketching, came back to India, fell in love with the profession, and here I am. I always tell people, I don't love to design, I live to design. And I think I'm very proud of myself because I built a very successful brand both internationally and in India. I've mentored a lot of people. I have given a lot of skilled artisans a lot of work. And I've also, blended creativity and entrepreneurship, together.
You have regular clients from the film industry?
I have many clients from the film industry as well as regular clients from all over. I don't speak of my clients because my profession is such that you need to have a certain bit of discreetness in this profession. But I'll tell you a funny story. When I was starting off, there was this young actress who had come into my store. Not my store. I was at that point showing in another jeweler's store because I was a young designer. And she had just done a film, and she had come in to buy a pair of earrings. And there were these beautiful Colombian emerald earrings in those days with diamonds, and they were like rocks, okay? And it was about 80 lakhs, okay? And she was like, I just love this, and she wore them, and she said, I'm going to buy them, and I'm going to buy them she was planning to buy them for the mother of the man she was dating, okay? And I said to her, you're not married yet. How can you be buying 80 lakhs for someone who you're just dating the mother? And you just come into the industry, make your money, wait a while, And she took my advice, and so she didn't buy them. But the jeweler was so pissed off that I stopped an 80 lakh sale, But I think what I've earned was the credibility from her. And I think that's what my clients always love, that I'm not always trying to sell you a piece of jewelry. It has to look nice on you, and it has to make sense. I won't tell you to buy something just out of the blue. And she respected my view. And then she broke up with the guy.
Bollywood actress.
Yeah. And she broke up with the guy. So obviously, it was a good decision not to buy those earrings.
Is she married today?
No comment.
You're not dropping clues, but you're dropping blind items.
Absolutely.
Sorry for the interruption. अभी तक का इंटरव्यू आई होप आपको पसंद आ रहा है, लेकिन आगे बढ़ने से पहले थैंक यू. आप सभी ने मेरे इंटरव्यूज को बहुत सारा प्यार दिया है, बट आई हैव बीन टोल्ड कि आप में से सिर्फ 8% लोगों ने इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब किया है. व्हाट आर यू वेटिंग फॉर? सब्सक्राइब बटन दबाइए, बेल आइकॉन पे क्लिक कीजिए. अगर आप टेक्नोलॉजी से ज्यादा वाकिफ नहीं हैं तो आस्क अ फ्रेंड और योर चाइल्ड टू हेल्प यू एंड सब्सक्राइब टू नेवर मिस एनी इंटरव्यूज on the Vickey Lalwani show. And now, back to the video. You said Rajji had a very good friendship with your dad.
Absolutely.
Who were the others from the seniors who were very close to your dad? Apart from Mr. Raj Kapoor.
My father was very, I think he was fond of Sunil Dutt very much. Very, very fond of Sunil Dutt. Dharmendra and him were very close. In fact, they both did a film together, Haqeeqat, and Dharmendra was a very well-known actor then, and my father was a newcomer, and they were shooting in Ladakh, and it was at the army base, and Papa told me the story, and it was very funny because the army have these rules that you can leave the camp, but when you have to come back to the camp, you need to have a password, to come back into the camp because you're in enemy territory and all of that. And so Dharmendra and Papa one day after shoot went down out of the camp to base camp to meet all the soldiers. They had a couple of drinks, they were happy, and then they were coming back to the camp, and both had forgotten. And they hear in the pitch of the darkness one click, one noise, and they get alert, and the sepoy there, or the army person there says password. And both had forgotten the password. And if you forget the password, a week ago, I believe someone had been shot dead. Because if you don't know the password, you could be enemy, right? So both had forgot the password. So then all of a sudden, so Dharm uncle says, you know, "Oi, main Dharmender hu." You know, and all of a sudden the light comes up and the guy says, "Oh, Pandy," you know, like in Punjabi, the guy turns on and says, "Oh my God," he's like, you know, "You're Dharmender," you know. And then Dharm uncle got angry with the guy that he was pointing a rifle at him and wanted to kill him because obviously he didn't have the thing. And they got into a little tussle, and then that guy was like from his village who recognized Dharmender and was a big fan of him, you know. And then they got into the army, back into the camp. But just imagine if they didn't know, they'd both be dead by now, you know. And if he wasn't recognized. This is more than filmy. Absolutely. Yeah. Who else? Anybody from the senior heroines? Yes, Parveen Babi was my dad launched Parveen Babi. He launched Rekha. In fact, Rekha came recently to the house, and when my mum passed, and she was saying, you know, the only reason I'm in movies is because of your mother. And I said, why? And she says, because when I first came, I was very plump and I wasn't very attractive, and your father did not want to do a photo shoot with me. And your mother kept saying, Apsi, look at this girl, look at her beautiful eyes and her lovely mouth. Please do a photo shoot with her, please. So your father very grudgingly agreed to do the photo shoot with me. And when the pictures came, he said, okay, you know, she looks good and we'll do the picture. So she said, that's how I entered the film industry. Was your family in touch with Parveen Babi when she was ailing? Yes, I was in touch with her. My parents were. I met her a few years before she passed. We were very close because she was someone I had childhood memories with, and she was very loving and very kind. Even my father's close to Kabir Bedi as well. You know. And Pooja, of course, is one of my closest friends now. You know. Pooja Bedi. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have no words to describe you anymore. Thank you. I just said elegant initially. Thank you. Honest, forthcoming, candid. Thank you. I will run out of vocabulary if I make any attempt. Thank you. Maybe you can do me a card like Pizza. I should. Thank you, Vicky. It was a pleasure, and my apologies if I couldn't do this earlier. I had no time at that point. And also, you know, it was very close to me losing my mom. I was not in the mental space to communicate or to talk. Even today, like, you know, I am very affected by her loss. And I think I'm getting stronger every day. But like I said, when you're doing something with anyone, you should be 100% in or 100% out, no in between. And I wanted to be 100% in today. So I hope you got that 100%. I fully understand what you have lost, Farah. Because the pain is on this side also. I know. I lost my mother. My condolences to you. You lost your mother too. 3 years back. 3 years ago. And trust me, I still haven't recovered. Not at all. I don't think it's a pain anyone can recover from. So until we meet again, Mom, in heaven, I know I will see you one day. Same here. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.